Today on the VHS Revolution show, I'm talking about one of my favorite directors, Steven Soderbergh. Okay, let's talk about Steven Soderbergh. The first time I saw one of his films was Out of Sight. I hadn't seen Sex, Lies, and Videotape at that point. He had this incredible run of films from Out of Sight in 98, The Limey in 99, Aaron Brockovich and Traffic in 2000, Ocean's 11 in 2001, and then things started to get a little spotty in terms of successes. But he also was nominated as Best Director for both Aaron Brockovich and Traffic in the same year, won the Oscar for directing Traffic. Julia Roberts won Best Actress for Aaron Brockovich. That year, 2000, was really amazing for him. And then to come out the following year with Ocean's 11, which is like this instant classic, which is a movie I rewatch at least once or twice a year. I really felt like the guy could do no wrong. And I think what happened to him after Ocean's 11, after he had some big hits, some Oscar wins, is he started to get more experimental. He's always been kind of an experimental filmmaker. And so after he had these Oscar wins and Ocean's 11 under his belt, he could kind of play a little bit more. And you could see that in Full Frontal and Solaris in 2002, in The Good German in 2006, which was this ode to Casablanca and the black and white movies of that era. It really didn't work, but it was still an interesting experiment. And of course, he's made a ton of films with George Clooney. And he made 2 more Oceans movies. Ocean's 12, I'm not a fan of at all, but there's some really fun filmmaking in there. And Ocean's 13, I think, is really solid. But he just kept trying stuff. He did some indies like Bubble and The Girlfriend Experience. He did a 2-part Che Guevara movie, which I still have yet to see, even though the Criterion Collection Blu-ray has been sitting on my shelf for like 10 years. And he also made The Informant, which was unfortunately not financially successful, I don't think, but is really, really funny and features one of Matt Damon's best performances. And so that's kind of how things would go. He did, as they say, one for them and one for him, as he made Contagion, which was a hit, Haywire, Magic Mike, which was a totally unexpected hit, which spawned 2 sequels, one of which I really love, the second one, and the third one, which is not good at all. In fact, it's probably one of his worst movies. He did a TV movie, Behind the Candelabra, TV series, The Nick. He was just all over the place doing great stuff. He even tried to retire and then came back. The guy just likes to work. And I think that that's what I really love about him, is that he likes to work. He likes to try new things. He's one of the first big directors to make a film on the iPhone. I mean, he already had a film earlier this year with Presence, which I unfortunately did not see. But he really is just one of my favorite filmmakers, and I love seeing what new approach he brings to every film. But now I'm going to give you my top 5 Steven Soderbergh movies. Number 5, Solaris. This was a tough call between Solaris and Magic Mike, and even though I guess technically Magic Mike is the more successful movie, I'm going to give it to Solaris, which is a movie that I really love and which kind of flew past everybody's radar. It opened and closed within weeks in November of 2002. And also it holds a special place in my heart because when I first moved to LA, it was late October 2002. And driving around the city, all I was seeing were billboards and posters for Solaris and the Steven Seagal movie Half Past Dead. Everywhere. Ads everywhere for those 2 movies. I really connected with the film back then and still do. It was produced by James Cameron, who was at one point going to direct it. He decided not to and moved into a producer role. And the 2 of them do an audio commentary, which is really great on the DVD. If you can get it, if it's available on YouTube, I really recommend it. I just love the vibe of the movie. It's kind of quiet. The score by Cliff Martinez is one of my favorite scores of all time. And it's a movie that I just go back to often. I really love George Clooney's performance. It's much quieter and more serious than a lot of his other performances. It also has Jeremy Davies, Natasha McElhone, and an early performance by Viola Davis. I know it's a total dud for a lot of people, but for me it's number 5 and it's one of my favorites. Number 4, Aaron Brockovich. I don't know that I would have put it at number 4 a few years ago. I thought when I saw it that it was really good. There were some things I really liked. Of course, I love Julia Roberts' performance and Aaron Eckhart's performance and Albert Finney. And I love the cinematography in the film by Ed Lachman. But I don't think I quite appreciated just how great the script is and what an excellent job Soderbergh did directing it. It could have easily turned out as like a standard, forgettable, procedural kind of lawyer, do-gooder lawyer movie. There's so many ways in which it could have failed or it could have just been mediocre. And pretty much every choice in the film is great. The costumes are great. Soderbergh always has a great feel for costumes and color and light. The script by Susanna Grant does a great job of showing us just how much the character of Erin Brockovich is really struggling to prove herself. And she's trying to prove herself while also having this acid tongue, this explosive temper, and she's constantly reaming people out and constantly letting people have it. And she's also being told, like, you can't do that. And she's like, well, fuck you. I'm going to do what I want. And so the film is very much about like her abrasive style in this very buttoned down lawyer world where everybody kind of behaves themselves. And it's a film I've gone back to a lot over the years and really looked at the screenplay. And I think it's just terrific. I think it's really one of his best films, and in a way, kind of one of his most underrated, even though it was a hugely successful film. And like I said, Julia Roberts won the Oscar and it was nominated. But I think people mostly just think of it as like a whatever drama. But I think it's really one of his best films. Number 3, The Limey. Speaking of underrated, my number 3 choice is The Limey. The Limey came out in this incredible fall of 1999, surrounded by movies like Fight Club, Three Kings, American Beauty, and it really was a very small movie, kind of experimental. Again, a great DVD commentary. Soderbergh did a lot of great DVD commentaries, especially in the late 90s and early 2000s. And this one is great too, because he did the commentary with the screenwriter of the film, Lem Dobbs. And Lem Dobbs was kind of annoyed because he wrote a very linear film, and Soderbergh in the editing room made the film very non-linear, using flashbacks of Terrence Stamp in an earlier film that he was in called Poor Cow. And the film is very much about memory, and it does a great job of bringing us into the main character played by Terrence Stamp, into his life and world and thoughts as he comes to America to avenge the death of his daughter. And Terrence Stamp is just a real force of nature in the film. The cinematographer was Ed Lachman, who was just nominated this year for the Oscar for Maria. Again, the way he plays with color, using natural light, the camera work is very handheld. And unfortunately, like Solaris, the film kind of came and went. It was really universally praised by critics, but it was not a successful box office hit. Still, it's a cool movie. It's really cool. Number 2, Ocean's 11. What can I say about Ocean's 11 that hasn't already been said? It's amazing. Every frame of it is rewatchable. The cast is incredible. The fact that he could bring together George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Julia Roberts, Andy Garcia, Scott Conn, Casey Affleck, Elliot Gould, Carl Reiner, Don Cheadle. I mean, the list goes on. And that all of them play so well off each other. It's kind of like a dream movie. It's the kind of movie where if somebody asked you, like, what would be your dream cast? And you just rattle off all these names. I think it's almost peak Brad Pitt and peak Clooney. He just got all of them at the best time in their careers. And it's really funny. It's really light on its feet. The filmmaking and the editing is just brilliant. And it's a movie that I never get sick of. I never, ever get sick of Ocean's 11. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's great. It's a great movie. And even though it spawned 2 sequels, Ocean's 12 and Ocean's 13, as well as another movie, Ocean's 8, which I do not like at all, I think the first one kind of just stands on its own and really doesn't need any of the other movies. I know some people really love Ocean's 12. Some people love Ocean's 13. Ocean's 13 is solid. It's really good. It's fun to watch. It's not as rewatchable for me as Ocean's 11. And 12 I could watch every once in a while, but I really don't enjoy it as much. The kind of twist in Ocean's 12 with Julia Roberts playing Julia, it doesn't work. I don't like it at all. But I will say I miss Julia Roberts in Ocean's 13. And as much as I like Ellen Barkin, Ocean's 13 feels a little too male heavy. And I would have loved like one other female in the movie to kind of balance out all the dudes. But Ocean's 11, I mean, what else can I say? It's just great. Number 1, Out of Sight. You know, Soderbergh was probably, you could say, one of the first directors who was able to make the transition from independent film to big Hollywood studio films. It was a little bit of a rocky start, but he got there, and he burst onto the scene with 1989's Sex, Lies, and Videotape, which won the Palme d'Or at Cannes, beating Do the Right Thing. It was kind of a controversial win, but it really set him on this career path that eventually led to Out of Sight. But back then, he was just a young independent filmmaker trying to figure things out. And he just became one of our best filmmakers. But it really could have gone another way. I mean, after Sex, Lies, and Videotape, he made The Underneath, he made King of the Hill, he made Kafka, all these films that were total financial failures. And it really didn't look like this guy was going to figure his shit out. Fortunately, somebody believed in him enough to give him Out of Sight, and the rest is history. Out of Sight was the first Soderbergh movie I saw. It's still my favorite movie of his. Everything about it is so fucking cool. It's George Clooney's coolest performance, and it's really his breakthrough performance as well, because prior to this, he was in Peacemaker and From Dusk Till Dawn and Batman and Robin, and it really didn't look like he was going to be able to break out and become the movie star that everybody thought he would be. And Soderbergh gave Clooney this one great directing note, which is stop bobbing your head. If you look at Clooney in his earlier film roles and also on ER, he was constantly like doing this and looking up. And in Out of Sight, he's just like very still, very solid. And again, not to repeat myself, but the costumes are great. The lighting is great. The David Holmes score is great. And what this one has is Jennifer Lopez in easily her best performance. Not even a question. And the chemistry that she and Clooney have is just off the charts. There's this great scene where she's at a bar and she keeps getting approached by these different guys all trying to like pick her up. And she just sends each one of them back like you have no chance. And then Clooney shows up and just slides right in. And the banter between the two of them is just so great. It's snowing outside. And then the film kind of intercuts that scene with the scene of them getting undressed and getting into bed together. And it's just really sexy and really cool. And the supporting performances by Ving Rhames, Steve Zahn, Don Cheadle, Isaiah Washington, Catherine Keener, all top notch. Albert Brooks. Oh, there's a great cameo from Michael Keaton playing the same character that he played in Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown. Also based on an Elmore Leonard novel. There's this whole Elmore Leonard universe that the film kind of plays with. Although it is kind of weird at the end. This is my one little thing, which is that he brings in Samuel L. Jackson to play a different character than Jackson played in Jackie Brown, but you have Michael Keaton playing the same character he played in Jackie Brown. It's a little weird. It's kind of an odd choice, but you roll with it because it's the end of the movie by that point, and who really cares? Is Out of Sight more rewatchable than Ocean's 11? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe Ocean's 11 is more rewatchable, but for me, Out of Sight is my favorite movie of his. It's where everything comes together in such a perfect way that I wouldn't want to change a thing other than Samuel L. Jackson. Okay, here's some other great Soderbergh movies. Traffic, Sex, Lies, and Videotape, The Informant, Haywire, Contagion, Magic Mike, of course, and Black Bag. I also want to name 5 what I'm calling Soderbergh adjacent movies, where he either executive produced or was the cameraman or was involved in some way. 5 great Soderbergh adjacent movies. Here we go. Magic Mike XXL. Magic Mike XXL is so much fun. It basically just follows the guys as they're coming up with new routines and going on this road trip to this big stripper convention or battle or something at the end. I don't even remember all the details. And it's so much about dance and performance, and Channing Tatum just kills in it. Soderbergh was actually the cinematographer and the executive producer of the film, and his assistant director, Gregory Jacobs, actually is credited as the director. But to me, even though he's not the credited director, I think the film totally feels like one of his movies. And then he returned to direct Magic Mike's Last Dance, the 3rd movie, and it is dreadful. It is dreadful. There's one dance at the beginning, one dance at the end, and the rest is just this boring drama between him and Salma Hayek. They're putting on a play in London. None of it makes sense, and none of it is interesting, except for the final performance sequence is well done and finally gets some heat that the movie just has none of. The Girlfriend Experience Season 1. This isn't just because I got to edit the teaser for The Girlfriend Experience Season 1. The show does a great job of serving as an extension of the film that he made with Sasha Grey. And in some ways, I actually think it's more successful than the film. It stars Riley Keough as a college student who also decides to become a girlfriend experience escort. It's hot, it's dramatic, it's intense. You don't really know what's going to happen. And it's also kind of mysterious. There's details that get introduced and then dropped, even though the season has an overarching story. There are things that happen that don't always pay off. And sometimes I don't like that, and sometimes I do. And in this case, I really do. So if you're interested, check out my teaser for The Girlfriend Experience Season 1. It's one of my favorite things I've ever done. And I really love that season of the show. Okay, the next three are movies that Soderbergh executive produced, all with George Clooney. Michael Clayton, one of the most rewatchable movies, maybe one of Clooney's best movies, maybe his best movie. I know I said Out of Sight and Ocean's 11, but definitely in his top 5. It was the directing debut of screenwriter Tony Gilroy, who then made Duplicity and The Bourne Legacy, and now is in charge of the Andor universe. Michael Clayton just rocks. It's incredible. Tilda Swinton won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. One of my favorite movies. 2 other movies that he executive produced that feel kind of Soderbergh adjacent are Syriana with George Clooney and Matt Damon, which is a drama from 2005 written and directed by the screenwriter of Traffic, Stephen Gaghan. It was his directing debut. The film doesn't work quite as well as Traffic, but it's a really, really good movie, and Clooney won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for it. And finally, Good Night and Good Luck, George Clooney's second directorial effort, also nominated for an Oscar in the same year as Syriana. It was nominated for Best Picture, Clooney for Best Director, David Strathairn for Best Actor. It's probably George Clooney's best film as a director. I think it's pretty easy to say that. And it's no accident that these 3 films feature George Clooney. I guess with the 3 Oceans movies, the Good German, Out of Sight, and then Syriana, Good Night and Good Luck. What else am I missing with Clooney? Solaris, Clooney, and Soderbergh. That's 8. Are there others? Let me know if there's others. Okay, so that's it. That's my episode on Steven Soderbergh. Let me know what your favorite Soderbergh movies are. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share with your friends the VHS Revolution show. This has been great talking to you about Steven Soderbergh, and I look forward to seeing you next time.